Yeah.
All right. It is February 10th, 2022. This is the Community Committee meeting. Present tonight is David, Nikki, Mayor Hughes, Stacy, and Jason. All right. You all have the agenda, right? David, did you get it?
I came from work.
Okay.
But I'm looking over with them.
Gotcha, okay. So kind of the biggest thing that we need to kind of try to nail down tonight is the pool and the fees, because we're already behind on it. In order to save some time, I gave some recommendations in here. What I've done is I pulled, and they're all in your packet here, I pulled last year's prices for 3 of the closest pools to us. I did not get, there's one more in Westerville that's pretty close. All the pricing is pretty much the same. Like we're pretty close on a lot of this stuff. Actually, we're a little lower than everyone else. My understanding is, and David, correct me if I'm wrong, but we did not raise the prices last year.
No, the impression and the manner in which I handled that was I want this to be as close to a service for our residents as possible.
Right.
It makes money, yes, but the primary goal should be serving our residents.
Right. So, my recommendation is that we just do a small increase. What I've put in here is just $5 across the board for everything. It seems like some of our expenses have gone up. We're considering a slide this year, replacing the slide. It's already been removed, so there's that fee involved. Any thoughts?
My only thought is Highlands is way more discounted for
It is.
a resident rate, but I guess my understanding is Highlands is always really, really packed.
Yes.
So maybe they're making up for it in volume.
They get money from Parks and Recs,
Yeah.
Westerville Parks and Recs, to help offset their fees.
Correct.
Yeah.
And the amount of residents that they have is
Right.
the other big push for how they're able
Yeah.
to keep their rates so low. One of the things that Jason and I had talked about a little bit is just, what exactly do you want the pool to be? If you lower the prices too low, then obviously you're gonna be packed, you're gonna have way more people in there. And that's kind of one of the pushes for our pool, is the fact that people can go, they can lay out, they can bring their kids, they can actually see their kids and they can find their kids. JC is probably, in my opinion, a very similar one, and the Northland one is very similar. You're never gonna compete with Highlands when you start talking about lazy rivers and all of that kind of stuff.
Right.
After, having 2 kids and trying to find them at Highlands is not what, it's not what a lot of people would want, and that one is just one I don't like to use their numbers as well, just because it's backed by Parks and Rec and all of that, so I think it's a difficult one to.
Compete with?
We
Right.
can't compete with that one for one. None of our residents are, unless they work in Westerville, none of our residents are gonna get that rate anyways. So I think using JC and using Northland and what was the other one? Those ones would be the really good ones to use them as a guideline, because that's what the average, if our residents were gonna go somewhere else, those would be the 2 places that they would, my opinion would be, they would go to JC or they would go to Northland, because those are, and Amherst Pool is pretty popular. Because again, a lot of our kids go to school with Westerville kids, and Amherst was one that, I know my son used to go to Amherst with his friends. So I feel like you probably have some residents that might venture their way up that way, and again, that's a very similar pool to ours.
And then I guess the other thing is, are we going to do children 2 and under, 3 and under, free? I see that children 2 and under.
I changed the wording to under 3.
We
Yeah.
had that issue last year, so I know we had to fix the wording on it.
Because 2, if they're 2.5, they're still 2,
Yeah.
right? So I
Correct.
think if you say under 3,
Yeah,
that sounds a little
yeah,
better.
yeah.
So that was my thought.
Because really, like, when they're that small, I feel like you're going for them anyways, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly. And typically you have, an older sibling or something like that anyways. They're typically not going to the pool for the 1-year-old. I mean, maybe they are,
Right.
but it's a lot of,
Yeah,
they're not going all the time for it.
yeah.
So I didn't adjust.
Happy to revisit that.
Sorry, what?
Oh, I said I'd be more than happy to. I was discussing with Councilperson Calls. That was discussed, last year, and it'd be
Yeah.
more than happy to
I think these are fair. I mean, is it kind of expensive? Yeah, but
Right.
it seems like these are fair prices in order to keep everything going and expenses, and I know we
Right.
need to like pay for a new slide and maybe think about like the bathrooms at some point
Didn't we
too.
just get a new baby pool or
Yeah,
something?
that baby pool's
Yeah.
awesome.
We
Right.
spent, yeah, we actually wrote a check, I mean, it was almost to the tune of $150,000 for that vehicle.
Yeah,
And we
We
not,
did get a grant
Yeah.
that paid for, the grant was 75,000, but I believe we still spent a good 50, 60, 75,000.
Yeah.
Just with engineering and getting a grant is great, but you end up spending a lot more in engineering. I mean, I think we have almost a $30,000-$40,000 bill because of the grant, you had to do it a specific way.
yeah,
Like we already had the pool that we wanted to do and getting it bid and all that wasn't the issue. Not that you wanna hear all of this, but because of the grant, it actually, we had to do this process.
Yeah, I remember that was rather convoluted and
Yeah,
a lot
it
of,
Yeah.
Yeah, and we ended up in the exact same position as we started in,
Yeah.
but we had to have an engineering stamp, an architectural stamp on it, and it ended up costing quite a bit to get that,
yeah.
and a much longer drawn out process.
I
yeah,
think prices are
it probably would have been a wash in the long run if we were to do it.
It would
Yeah.
have been, and we were
Right.
out of pool for almost 2 years, waiting for the grant and doing all that, so
Right.
there's definitely a good wash to it.
Yeah.
and in the next few years, we're gonna have to think about replacing the
The
big pool, so,
loungers, yeah, the
which is gonna be
loungers, all that.
very expensive,
Yeah,
so,
so it's good to have surplus over,
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we can start
So-
saving up some.
Yeah.
yeah, now.
The
Yep,
last
so
2 years are the
again,
only 2 years we've even come close to breaking even.
yeah,
That pool has typically done a $20,000 to $30,000 loss every single year,
right,
yeah,
as just an FYI. But we have 250 new homes, and
Right.
COVID, our day passes are typically what helps keep that pool up and running, it's not the memberships over
Yeah.
the years.
Mm-hmm.
We do a good amount of memberships. Do you remember seeing how many we did last year membership wise?
total memberships, no, I didn't get that number.
I feel
but-
like it was 150 to 100 and, I'm gonna go around 150.
150, 175 sounds right in my
Yeah,
recollection.
It does. So, but we make our money on our day passes, and, you know, to say that it's expensive, you're 100% correct, because I remember one of your neighbors one day called right after we opened the pool and said, I sent my kids with a $20 bill, and it was $20 for 2 of them to get in, and it was 2 teenagers, and you think about it, and you're like, yeah, that's what it costs to go to the movies, that's what it costs to go bowling, that's what it costs, actually, I think it's 13 to go bowling.
Cheaper than the movies now too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, depending on exactly
Cheaper
what
than
you're
the
doing,
popcorn
so.
at the movies.
yeah, the
So-
popcorn- that's what I'm saying, is can we like increase revenue some other ancillary ways too?
He's getting there, he's
Alright.
on it.
So membership, what we collected from opening of the pool season to the closing, this does not include pre-sales. We did 23,795. For non-member day passes, things like that, we did 44,164. So about almost $68,000, over the summer months. So again, just a small increase, and honestly, I didn't even recommend increasing our day passes, definitely not for seniors.
Yeah, no,
So, yeah, so we need to, come to a consensus with that so we can push it on to council to vote on. Any thoughts, do we wanna move ahead with that?
I guess my only questions are like, there were some like, this is what the pass like comes with, where it's like guest passes and all of that
I'll get to
stuff.
that part next.
Okay, alright, price, fine, we're good,
Yep,
I'm good.
okay. So the next thing, kind of a brainstorm idea is, what if we expand our passes? What if we look at some other options? So the pool isn't really utilized from about 6 to 8 PM. It's kind of the slow time for the pool. And a lot of people work during the day and don't feel the value of a membership if they don't get to use it all the time. So what if we offer a cheaper rate that's just after 5 o'clock at night and for weekends?
Nice.
Yeah.
So
That'd be nice.
a little better price, you can see I started at 100 for members, for residents. The question we were gonna did you talk to our attorney about non-residents? Okay,
And
So-
he's not gonna be here, he's sick.
okay.
No.
So yes,
So-
I talked to him earlier, but he's sick.
So there is a question if that's a benefit we have to
I don't think it is. And
I
I'm
don't
gonna,
think so either.
I think.
We have to
he
do
will
to
be-
non-residents, so that's something we'll need to check on.
We were
We can
able to, and David,
Because of
correct
the
me if I'm
grant, I
wrong on
think.
this.
We
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
make it public.
We were able to do
But
a
we
resident only after
Did they
5
control the
pass
price?
last
Oh,
year,
yeah.
is that
Oh,
correct?
then make it.
Ridiculous,
Yeah,
yeah.
To the best of my knowledge, I believe so. I think that sounds familiar to me. then again, that was during the peak of night shift rain, so.
Wait, can you say that again? I wasn't listening.
I
Sorry.
think that would be a good thing.
Wait, what? I wasn't listening, sorry.
She was thinking that last year they had like after 5 o'clock or something, you know.
I think that's a great idea. Bring a
It's
food
just
truck
strictly
in.
residents.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's appealing.
mm-hmm,
yeah.
It is.
Or give a after 5 discount only to residents and then the rest of it's just a full rate.
Something we would need to consider, in addition to just the rate changes, would be how, if anything, or, you know, if this would hypothetically affect the staffing of the lifeguards. Yeah, because, you know, there's a lot of them are,
Liability.
mm-hmm.
you know, younger, and depending on how late it is, like, if I recall correctly, there are certain labor law restrictions on.
I think it's 10.
Yeah, I do think it's pretty late.
Yeah, I don't think, I remember being sent home at 10,
Yeah.
not at like 8.
Again,
So,
That was 7,000
do we
years
wanna
ago.
talk further about it? Is this an idea you wanna
I'm
pursue
all
with
for
it?
this. I
Okay.
think
I'm
this
all
is
for
an
it.
awesome
as many
idea.
What
options
ab-
as possible.
What about the pricing? What do you
Hold
think?
on,
So I
let me look at
said
the
starting at
price.
100, it's $30 cheaper. I don't know.
Should we go a little less maybe?
That's,
So the thing to remember is, again, for people that do come at 5 to 8, if they come 5 times, how much money is that
That's
for
true.
a family of 3? And I'm not saying, again, you go back to, I'm gonna be your devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Because David said it completely correctly. You're not necessarily trying to make money from your resident. We
Yeah.
pay more on our water bill, we pay income tax, we pay property tax, we pay a lot of money to live here. So is this a perk that we're willing to pay a little extra at the end of the year so our residents have been able to enjoy it and use it? So I think there's a balance, but I don't
Yeah.
think that, you know, you guys are on the wrong path of.
Decreasing price.
Yes, so what I have done is I am hopefully going to get some answers for you.
Okay.
Okay. No, I'm fine. I just don't know what are like, I don't even know what the financial like spreadsheet looks like, so I don't know what like we can afford and what we can't afford.
So we've
It's-
never really, here's a
yeah,
great answer, and he knows this. We have really just opened the pool and here's how much the passes are, and we just hope we do well at the end of the year. I'm just gonna be honest. When I started here 2 years ago, it was, by the time pool season rolled around in March, we had COVID. So we were blessed that, well, okay, some people didn't like the fact that we opened, but with us opening, that was the first year we broke even. Residents were able, that wanted to enjoy the pool during COVID, was able to come and do it. That was the first year we'd actually, I don't wanna say made money, but we did not lose money.
Surplus.
So, yes,
Surplus.
and
The pool is a public service for residents of Minerva Park.
Yeah, I
Right.
agree with
I
that.
would not even be opposed to not changing prices at all, because it's not about the money, in my perspective. To my perspective, it's what services can we provide to the residents?
I will disagree with you respectfully with that because of inflation, like I think we should increase it by 7% only because your costs go up with
Yeah.
staffing.
What-
So I think a 7% like inflation adjustment would be appropriate.
I definitely understand that, and I can see it as well. Yeah, the 7.5%, whatever it was, this, in the most recent federal report, I get it, I do. But on the flip side of that, have wages going up 7.5%? And the
Right.
wages of the workers of Minerva Park is where that money is coming from at the end of the day.
so I will tell you guys, and just because you guys are new, and again, Jason knows this, a lot of there were lifeguards making $8.80, a year ago, and that ended. I put every single one at least $10. They increased based on their year from that point, but I did not do minimum wage, which is what we had been paying for however many years possible, because that's all we could do. Well, we're not taking advantage of our teens in this, I mean, $10 an hour is still crap.
right,
Let's just be honest, but that's what I did do that last year as well, so you do have that coming in. I don't have a plan to increase anything significantly, but we did bring them all up, at least, some of them up $1.50 from the current, where they were at.
Yeah,
So,
no.
just as an FYI, just bringing that in, we did
Yeah, I
increase,
remember that. That
we
was
did
good.
increase lifeguards' pay.
Yeah,
I
that was
agree
good.
with that.
And I don't want to, be a stickler about it, obviously, but yes, inflation causes the cost of, everything to go up, but if wages aren't,
But here's my issue with that.
Chlorine went up, everything went up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
coming from a practice with staffing issues, if you don't pay the going rate,
Right.
you're gonna have more problems because you won't have staff, and then you
Turnover.
can't open the
Yep.
pool.
yep,
So like you have to remember that. Like that is definitely what my thought process was until we had staffing issues.
right.
And if you can't keep the pool open because you don't have enough people to work,
Wait a moment, were you saying increase the pay for the lifeguards 7 and some percent, or increase
I'm
the
just
cost
saying
of everything?
the costs including wages.
Oh, okay, yeah, then, yeah,
So
there's a lot more
chlorine-
nuance to that, I am with
Yeah.
you on that. for
Right,
sure.
so like if in my opinion, if we don't increase the membership by 7%, we're not gonna make the same amount of money we made last year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And
I can see what you're saying
and we
there.
can, like, I don't wanna risk not being able to keep the pool open or not having enough lifeguards or any of this stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
Which is
yeah.
already happening, cause this is like the
Right.
age of the great resignation where people aren't willing to work if
Exactly.
it's not worth their time.
it is.
We can't blame them for that, but I definitely
Right.
agree with you, yeah.
So I'm,
So,
Yeah, I didn't catch the wage part, I'm sorry.
no, it's okay,
so how are we on the after 5 and weekends?
I'm into it.
Okay, all in agreement?
So, and then this is just an FYI, the reason that we're trying, and I'm actually gonna say this on record, so just FYI, if you don't like it, sorry. One of the reason that the determining factor whether or not we move forward on this is what I would like to hear from you guys. The reason that we quit doing the after 5 pass from get-go was because the crowd the police had to be called on more than one occasion. So that was actually requested from the pool manager that we end that pass. That did happen,
Okay.
and that was the actual, they didn't feel safe working down there after 5.
Was it
That
residents?
not-
Residents?
Exactly, that was
Okay.
not residents.
Okay,
So I am verifying from him, not him, the attorney, to make sure that we can have it just for residents, but I kinda wanted to make sure you guys knew that
perfect, yep.
whichever
understand.
one we can do,
Right, I
that's
think
what we'd
should
be
do
looking
that.
for.
Yeah.
Why can't we just we can make that pass available, but there only would be a discount for residents?
That's what, verifying that we're allowed.
Okay,
Okay,
that's fine.
But I don't think there's any issue with having just a time just for residents. Right?
I think if
There
we
was
get
contention
public
about
grant
that in
money,
previous
we'll,
sessions.
we'll figure
So
it
here's
out.
what I know, it can't be resident only, we can offer discounted, my understanding is this pool
Even
will,
that 2 hours?
no, you're not allowed.
Why not?
Because we are
Public money.
Because that we got a grant, we got
Oh,
regular,
okay.
yes, we
Okay,
got
that
grant
makes
money
sense.
too.
That was-
But
yeah, that was
you're
the
going
intention.
to
Your point's not wrong.
No, no,
It makes sense.
there's actually been a lot of people request that we close it in general to anybody other than residents. And that is not,
We-
it is
we
not an
just
option.
Can't do
yeah,
that.
can't
But
do that.
financially, it's not an option
Right.
either. But he has even more good ideas.
Yep,
Yeah,
I'll
so,
keep you posted
so
if I
one
hear.
more pass that I wanna talk about
I love it.
is a premium pass.
Okay.
Alright, so this comes with benefits. This
Okay.
comes with guaranteed lounge chairs, 2
Okay.
guaranteed lounge chairs, or maybe a table, picnic table, it could be one or the other.
Okay,
5 guest passes that can be
Okay.
used any day, including holidays, and I'll get to that in a second.
and so, just to clarify, like,
Uh-huh.
I can bring 5 of my closest friends
You could
every
bring-
day?
No, it's 5
5 total.
single-use
Okay.
passes, yep, so that, and these are just ideas, we can put anything in here that we
Okay.
want, right? Cause it has to be valuable for people, they have to see the value in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
24 bottles of water, and I figured for each additional person, it's another 12 bottles of water. Cold water, right? Who doesn't want cold water at the pool? And then they can get 1 additional unnamed guest. Just like if you have a Zoom membership and you have like the family one,
Like a
the
name.
2 plus
Yeah.
2.
Yeah,
Doesn't have to be named, it can be not in their household, it can be grandma Monday, it can be grandpa the next day. We don't care who that person is, and they can come as often as they want.
I
that's,
like it.
I would 100% pay extra money for
I
that
would.
because that fits my family.
Without
And the
that,
re-
I would.
And the reason
But-
that we
Yeah.
went back and forth is, what does that do, and this is devil's advocate here, what does
Yeah.
that do, depending on price, what does that do to the babysitter, what does that do, so if we have, everybody does this premium pass, or do we limit the amount of premium
I think
passes?
that's
Again,
it,
these
I
are
think
just
you have to limit
ideas,
it, cause we don't have unlimited chairs.
but
Yeah.
yes,
Right.
and the other part, and that's gonna be the next part that I wanna talk to you all about, is
Yes.
the slide versus maybe something like that.
Uh-huh,
But if you kinda have to make sure that the people aren't looking at the price going, well, that's stupid, I might as well do the premium pass, because the premium pass is only $40 more, and if I have a babysitter, the babysitter's 65, so why wouldn't I just do the premium pass?
no, it's definitely not 40, but.
Yeah, so no, and so that was just one of the things, because we had actually talked about like the zoo pass.
Yeah.
And thought it was a great idea last year, And there was a couple things that came up as to why it really wouldn't have worked, but it wasn't a premium, so like, I love his idea of the premium pass. And it's just a way to, what benefits do you want, you don't have to have all of, yeah, exactly.
So-
I mean, I think there should be a margarita machine and you could get one a day, that's
Yeah,
just my
yeah,
opinion,
I'm into
but-
that too.
That,
Yeah.
we'll work on that for next year.
As long as it
I'll
is
take
on
two.
a place with a camera that'll accept like an Ohio, state Ohio ID,
Yeah.
and that is fine by me.
And we might wanna cut that out of the public record, just as FYI, that I said that.
Shoot.
Yeah. I'm like, this is like the best idea because I think all of my apprehensions last year about why I actually didn't buy a pass were literally because, well, what if I needed help and I needed my mom to come?
Right.
Like, I'm not gonna go without my mom because
Right.
it's hard to wrangle like a baby
Yep,
or whatever. And how am I
That's exactly
actually-
what we
yeah.
talked about.
This is, yeah, just thanks for thinking of me. I'm gonna take this personally. Wow,
Well-
that was very nice.
well, and it's
I
some
don't
of
have
that,
kids, I never think about this kind of stuff.
No,
You
you
know,
it's the
Oh, let me-
premium
I'll
stuff.
help you.
We all
Yeah.
know that you can bring your own chair down there, but who wants to haul a chair down, right? Or who
Yeah.
wants to bring their own water, or who, you know?
And a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's too many things. Yeah.
And,
Yeah, I
and we
watch
can,
people bring in wagons and stuff all the time.
we can change
I'm
out
happy
what's
with
in
that.
here, we can put snacks in here, whatever you'd
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
to do, so.
Yeah.
So, something that we, are trying to get information on, and David, the vending company,
Yeah, Cardinal Bank.
Obsessed.
is no longer Cardinal, they
Why not?
changed their name, do you
Why not?
remember, or
Yeah,
can you
perfect.
text
That's
me the
exactly-
contact
that's what
info?
I can do that right now.
Do that, because I wanna follow up to see if he ever sent us
Who
the check
doesn't wanna
again for
do that?
last year.
Oh.
Cause this is a check that we just always have to
Just
kinda
make it a
track
package.
down.
You're right.
And we wanna verify what we made on concessions last
Like
year
the
to really
Disney
have this as a good topic.
Package.
The next, that topic, the snack topic?
Yep, go for it
Okay.
now, cause
No, I have one
contact
more.
info.
I have one
No,
more.
go, oh yeah, your
Okay,
holiday
birthday
pass.
party rentals. So renting out a table, basically a picnic table or something like that for 2 hours, it includes 10 passes plus 2 adults. So 12 total, right, people? They would get 12 bottles of water, 12 ice cream bars or something like that, and the picnic table for 2 hours, plus they can swim all they want.
Nice.
No restrictions on days, times, anything like that.
And then you can bring your own other stuff, right?
Yeah, they can bring their own cakes.
Yeah, you don't want just like
Texas
kids
and
hopped up on
Maryland.
ice cream running around. Probably want like real food too. Just
I don't know, thoughts on that?
I'm obsessed with this. This is-
Ice cream bars by myself, you know.
yeah. I'm just gonna throw myself a
Yeah.
party.
Can I order that?
I know.
Leave me alone with my picnic table and my ice cream.
We'll just keep doing every day, we'll do the birthday party with 12 ice creams.
Yeah,
No, these are, gee, I'm all for all of
These
this.
are awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah, you.
All we need is
my
snacks.
goodness.
sorry,
Yeah.
just brainstorming a little.
It's awesome.
I forgot to put in here, and I wrote it down, how much, if a daycare wants to use it, I think we've charged $5 a kid in the past.
Is that a
Oh, 'cause
liability
we
though?
do got quite a few around
I
this
don't,
area
no,
too.
they bring their own people, but they're just using the kiddie pool is my understanding.
But
I'm
what
kinda
is
not
our
into that one.
legal,
Yeah, that's my only thing is like,
I don't
I feel
know,
like,
I know that we've done it in the past, so.
What, say that again, I'm listening.
The
Daycare.
$5
Daycare.
a person for daycare,
So we do daycares, that is done solely through myself and John, and it's based on what days they come. We usually only give them 2 hours. We really cut down on daycares because of COVID.
Yeah.
And we do plan on keeping it cut down just because there have been complaints, because again, the pool gets busy during those times. We typically set it for about $5 per kid. There were times we let them come in actually an hour early, just again, so we could make some money. And for anybody that doesn't know, we do have a dive team / swim team that comes in that rents the pool in the mornings.
Yeah.
So again, that's what's difficult about having birthday parties in the morning, you know, we don't
Right.
open until noon. There is somebody using it typically about 5 days a week, just as an FYI for you guys.
yeah,
And that does bring in quite a bit of money for us as well.
so it'd have to be
You wanna
during
careful
pool
about
hours.
The
The
daycare
daycare
and things
has
like
to
that
go
as well,
through.
because problems we had in the past were a daycare company, I forget exactly which, and it's probably rude to name them anyway, used the pool primarily as a babysitter or a
Right.
large
I could see
period
that
of
happening.
time, which we'd like to avoid as well.
Mhm.
that just sounds like a big liability.
Yes.
It does.
Okay, So-
Like, I just know my kid
Yeah.
and she's a liability for sure.
right, okay, we don't have
I have
to
a
do it.
20-year-old, she's still a big liability.
Yeah, just, I don't know.
The other thing I don't have written down that I wanted to get y'all's opinion on is, what if we allow, up until the pool opens, people to make monthly payments? instead of paying it all at once.
I think that's fair too. I love that.
We'd have
As
to
long
find
as
a
it's
way to
paid
track
in
it.
full,
that's a cool
by the
option.
first day it opens, they get the full use of their,
Yeah.
And again, the pros cons was he had brought a really good, pool option for a software program. In the past, there had been discussion about doing that, letting people split the payment over 2 months or 3 months. We have one fiscal officer. That fiscal officer is also our clerk of courts. So if somebody has a bounce check, if somebody or just trying to collect the money, let's say it's now 3 days before the pool starts and then they show up and they say they mailed their check and we know how our mail service is working and they don't. So all I'm saying on this part is I'm not against it, but just think of the pros and cons of what could potentially happen with our current mail situation,
Yep.
with the fact that somebody says they mailed it and they didn't.
And they didn't.
Or do we allow checks? Maybe we do this year as being a no check year. The program that he sent, they could pay it online, they could do a lot of different things, so I'm not against it, I'm just telling you why we hadn't done it in the past.
Yeah, the,
It would
Why
be
can't we, okay, scrap the mail. I feel like we don't even need the mail. Online or in person.
yep,
That's it.
So that would have to be advertised on there, cause I will tell you,
Yeah.
if you go through and look at the amount of people that write checks in our village, believe it or not, is, I don't wanna exaggerate, but I would say a large portion of people write checks.
an uncharacteristic
Here's my
amount
issue
of-
is, but are they writing checks because it's still an option for them? Like if
No,
it's not
it's
an
very
option,
possible.
right, if you have
It's
to
very
mail
possible.
in everything,
yeah,
Yeah,
if
and-
it's
and
I
not
would
an
do,
option,
yeah.
you can't,
And believe it or not, we do have a lot of people that, we have a lot of,
Elderly.
we have different generations that still do
Yeah.
write checks, and those people do still use the pool, and they use it almost every single day.
right,
that's true.
So, and I'm not saying it wouldn't be an option that they couldn't do another thing, I'm just telling you that that's just the way that they've done it for 10 years, 15 years. It doesn't mean that we can't do it that way. But if we don't have some sort of software program, somebody mailing in a check twice, it's going to be a nightmare
Yeah.
for Barb and for Leah to, okay, they paid $100 and now they've paid $125, this person's now paid. You're talking about 150 people on top of their
Yeah.
everyday, sending out council packets and all of that, so it's not possible. But that was the great thing about the software program that he brought into, that people would pay online. So
Yeah.
would we accept checks for those handful of people that really wanted to just bring it in? Cause a lot of people are just gonna pay it in full. But
Yeah.
there are people that would love to, I would pay it in full just because it would just be done.
yeah.
I'm gonna put it on a credit card, whether I do it in 1 month or 2. But I think that there are people that it would be very helpful if we did a payment in. So again, I'm just doing devil's advocate why we haven't done it. We've talked about it. These are the things that could go wrong. But there's a lot that could go right.
so, that brings us to the software. It's a swimming pool management software, it's called, Swimming Pool Passes. You can do your complete registration online. It issues either, and pieces cost different amounts, right? But I think we're still looking at only a few $1,000s here, even if you add it all together. Base price, if we do the annual, it's $420, if we do just the seasonal, it's $336. Plus then the add-on. So you can do a physical guest or physical pass that gets mailed to you. It's a plastic ID card, it's got your
That's in
picture
the-
on it.
That's in the price?
Yep,
Okay.
you pay for it, it's $1 a card, $3 a household, so if you get 3
Yeah.
cards, it's $6 for you.
Okay, that's fine.
Nothing, right? And so we have barcodes now on them, and everyone gets scanned in. That tracks how many people we have at the pool,
That'll give
all-
us
at all
pretty
times.
statistics, yeah.
So then we know what age groups are coming to the pool, it just gives us all these statistics that we don't have to make some educated guesses, or not guesses, but educated decisions. And there's options, right? The one thing that I think that I really like, you can also do a digital e-pass, right? So you can get it saves in your wallet, yep, and that's free. It
Nice.
cost us a flat fee to enable that, $360 I think is the fee, but I think that's worth it, for convenience. That way, people aren't sharing passes, they're not saying, oh, I'm number 6, and they're not really even number 6. We can make them put in their address, it helps us verify that they actually or live in the village. So it gives us a little more control over who comes in and out of the pool.
That's cool.
I'm really
Seems like a
into
good
this.
program.
Yeah,
And then just as an FYI, this is just something different. We had already, we have a meeting with a company called Point and Pay. We were already planning on doing a Point and Pay where people could actually just, this is totally different, this is actual pool software. But we were in the process of putting together what's called Point and Pay for permits online, pool memberships. There's a drop-down bar, it's a fill in the blank, and they would have been able to do all of their, they would have been able to run all of their payments on the Point and Pay system. Again, this is more ID cards and all of that kind
Right.
of stuff, but we were already implementing something that people could just pay with a credit card and move on with life.
right,
So if we don't implement, and I don't make these decisions,
Right.
but I am telling you that this is going to be regardless, this is going to be different this year because Point and Pay is going to happen. Because again, it's for people to be able to do online permits too. We were meshing it with the pool because that's again, one of the largest ways that we use credit card. The pool software, the really cool thing about the way that he was explaining that is it's a software system that they would be able to use down here, but then people could actually just do their day passes. So one of the issues that we had on more than one occasion, you also have to remember last year was the first year we had Wi-Fi at the pool. We actually do pay Wi-Fi 12 months out of the year just to have Wi-Fi at the pool for 3 or 4 months. But if the phone line goes down, which it actually went down more than once, they couldn't run credit card payments. Therefore, they couldn't let people in because nobody carries cash and they would have to send them to the closest ATM. So as an FYI, that would be something that we do currently have Wi-Fi down there. We would have iPads or whatever for the software system. So it's just a matter of, can we afford both? And I know people don't want to hear me say that, but a couple $1,000s is a couple $1,000.
Correct.
Point and Pay is for it. So if we can't implement this year, is it something that we really do? I mean, I love the idea of something that we could actually generate numbers and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
You guys want to implement that this year? We'll figure out what we need to do to make it happen. Talk to Kim. And see exactly how fast we can get it up and running because we're gonna have a little bit of time with all these readings. So it is not my decision, it was something that we would have to do some sort of legislation that we're going into contract with this particular company. So this is something that if you guys can't make a decision tonight, I'd recommend getting another meeting in here because again, I think the software is amazing. I don't know if you guys want, but it's a financial thing, so we need to make sure that, you know, Kim looks at it and you guys vote for it because it's gonna be above, it's probably gonna be above what I can, any contract like this, you guys are gonna have to
Yeah.
approve
Right.
anyways. So this is something that we're gonna have to do, boom, boom,
Right.
boom. So you guys can kind of talk about it, is it something you really wanna look at, is Point and Pay gonna be good enough?
yeah. I
And,
think
you know, all of that.
the other piece of this is that there's a marketplace option where you can buy all of your concession items as well. So if we sold concessions, which,
Next topic.
yep,
Snacks.
which we get 10 cents per,
Yeah, I made that
Fruit.
up. Do you
Oh,
know
I don't
about
know.
what we got for candy bar? I made that up, but
Oh,
I think
sorry.
it's probably pretty close. No, I think it's pretty close.
Yeah, that sounds right.
About 10
You
cents
know,
a candy bar or
Again, it
two.
was a year ago, but yeah, that sounds
I
about
mean,
right.
don't you,
as opposed to us buying candy and snacks
Yeah.
in bulk and
It's
selling
kinda
it for
costs
$2 each.
Yep.
and even if
Yeah.
we had to have an extra lifeguard or something, I'll let you get into that
Yeah.
next. I mean,
So the beauty of the software is that, so think about kids, right? If a kid's down there and the parent's not there, or who carries cash really, you can purchase it with your credit card right through it. And then they don't expire, so if you don't use it that time, but you're coming the next day, you can have it. If a kid loses his money on the way to the pool and,
Yeah,
you know, mom and dad could
or,
say, hey, I bought it for you, just go up to the counter
Yeah.
and get it, or,
you call mom and say, hey mom, can you buy me
Yeah.
like 3 waters and a bag of chips? I do it on my phone,
Right.
because
exactly.
trust.
that reminds me, I better check my son's account.
Yeah.
Easy-
So-
Westerville City Schools has that easy pay. If you put the
Yeah.
money on the account, the
Right,
kids just
that's
use it
what-
every day.
so
They don't
much
carry
better.
anything around.
Right, so why don't we, that's,
So.
from my
I know.
demographic perspective, I'm obsessed with this, this is the
Yeah.
best idea.
Fantastic ideas about this, but just never
So you just put it all on, here's my,
Yeah, uh-huh. And you
Yes.
can scan your pass bill and it will pull it up. You can pull it up by email. There's
So-
lots of options.
my only thing is, what if we just don't accept cash then? So we don't have to deal with it.
I don't know, can we?
So
I
the
don't think we
issue that you
can.
have with cash is cash.
Yeah.
You got transaction fees on every time you swipe a card.
That's true.
And that
think we're
costs a
not allowed
lot
to.
of money when you add it
Yeah.
up at the end. I mean, if you're $10, what is a charge on every $10?
3%?
I mean,
2.75% perhaps?
yeah, I mean, it adds up. When you start talking about a $1,500 day and you're swiping, a lot of those are cash.
Yeah,
I mean, people are bringing $20, people are bringing $20, you know, and they just,
right.
so it's the fees, it's not anything else, but
Right.
it's,
Can we account for
So-
those fees in our prices though?
so the point and pay system, just as an FYI, it's usually like a $2.75 transaction fee or something like that, and we will pass that on.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna be able to put a $2 transaction fee for somebody buying a $10,
Yeah,
So my recommendation would be is that if you're interested in looking at the software, we can schedule a demo with this company. And so we could schedule an additional meeting and actually sit there and have them do the demo with us.
yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
this is awesome.
cool.
Yeah, that'd be.
I want all the things, yeah,
Alright.
I want those snacks and no cash, that's my dream.
We only have 10 minutes.
well, he hasn't
left.
even gotten to the snacks yet.
Can we have all the snacks? Yeah, go get the
Well,
snacks.
I mean, really, the concession stand, right? So we can, I don't know if we have to make a decision on what that is right now, but, you know, Cokes and waters and chips
Do you have
and,
anything to sample?
huh?
I just-
Yeah.
No,
Bring samples.
no, I didn't bring samples, but I have
That's
looked up,
great.
you know, I looked up what it costs to get it at Costco or Sam's Club and stuff like that, and really, I mean, on the high end, you're probably talking 54 cents a piece
Yeah.
for something, and if you sell it for $2, we're
Yeah.
making $1.50.
So,
Yeah.
I think the water is $2 a water there, and like for the lifeguards, I mean, a lot of the lifeguards, those poor guys were paying $2 for a water, so when I was getting waters, I mean, I would just go to I would go to Costco and get,
Yeah.
what, 10
Right.
at a time, and I would drop like 2 of them off at the pool, and the rest of them would go down to the officers, but you
Yep.
get 48 of them for
Yeah.
$3.
Yeah.
Here's what we have to think about, right?
Yeah.
If we're doing that, we are gonna have to buy possibly a refrigerator or a freezer to keep, or both, to keep
Yeah, cause his
them
is
in.
not gonna be big enough.
So it would be
down
a
there.
little bit of an expense, but I think the offset is what we make off of, like, I don't think it's
Yeah.
more than what we'd make off of it, so,
I think it definitely will pay off.
okay. All right, that brings us to pool slide.
So here was a quick
Can we
answer,
wine
I know you didn't ask me
in
for my answer, but I have an answer for everything.
Okay.
And don't laugh when I say this, and I know again, I'm on a recorded thing, and I hate that. John said if we didn't replace the pool, it would not hurt his feelings,
The slide,
or the slide.
yeah,
It would not hurt his feelings, and that's all I'm gonna say about that.
What does that
So it's
mean?
one of those
So-
things,
and this is my opinion, this is my thought. If we had to choose between a pool slide this year and the software, I'd probably go with the software,
Yeah,
that's what you guys are here for.
yeah, so, okay.
Yeah.
I'd love both, but I mean.
I would too,
But long-term, the software, if we can keep, you know.
Well, it doesn't mean you can't do the slide next year, it
Yeah,
doesn't mean
yeah.
that you
Right.
can't do,
right,
and Barb's done quite a bit of work researching all of the different things.
And some visual aids for my,
oh, there's no email? Oh, man.
So,
well, I can, you can find the other one.
we're just trying to finish up our
yeah,
community
we,
meeting.
Sorry,
we're,
we're in.
yeah, no, yeah, we're in
Let
one.
me just,
So, no, you're good. But no, I mean, I think that's exactly, I mean, talking
Yeah.
about software versus, and it's, you know, as far as the slide goes, I will tell you, there were people that were very disappointed that it wasn't replaced right away.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, I'm gonna get my rear end reamed because I definitely said it was being replaced this year. But it's one of those things, and I will not throw you guys under the bus, this was just the decision that we made. If we decide not to do the slide is approximately, I'm gonna
Yeah.
go with $2,000 minimum.
Right, two was the low end and
Is the low end and, yeah.
56,000 or so was the high end.
Exactly.
That does
Um,
include installation though.
Yeah, and I don't know
Yeah.
if we would have to get Rick West to come in and do it, or I'm sure Brian and Rick would probably do it together, or Brian would do it, but, I mean, you're definitely talking $2,000.
Yeah,
My thought process is if we do the software now and we do like concessions, like it's gonna pay for a better slide next year.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
I'm
what
thinking
I'm
the same thing.
alluding to.
Uh-huh.
And maybe new loungers? And
Yeah.
maybe a liquor license? No, sorry.
The
So what does it
premium, the
cost when you
premium
pool
membership
open
might
up?
pay for new lounge chairs too.
Yeah,
So.
I would totally, I'm
Yeah.
buying a premium.
So,
membership of that.
and we have set aside some money for repairs for the pool this year, we did set aside money for, again, the slide. I can't remember the amount that we were doing for that, so that could easily be, again, you guys are gonna have to approve the contract with that, with the software company. And make sure that there's no like hidden fees, like is this something we have to pay, is this something we pay every year, is it just the startup fee and then it's X amount each, well, obviously it's software you're gonna pay every year, but are there more fees this year than there's gonna be next year, because that's something to consider, and is there any fees, like if we decide not to use it 2 years, are we just done? So, just basic little questions like that. Myself and Barb can help with any of that kind of stuff once, if that's what you guys really do decide to do. I would definitely write down the questions and with the tutorial, if they can do it in the evening, if they can do it during the day, I'm sure it's gonna be pretty much on Zoom.
Yeah,
For something like that. So I know we're getting ready to do the point and pay. When's the point and pay?
The demo,
Yeah,
tomorrow,
what time?
I don't know,
Can't remember.
she never responded.
Okay, so we think the demo is gonna be tomorrow. I'm hoping to be here to do that one, cause that's gonna be about permits and all that kind of stuff as well. And then maybe we can kind of see how that one's gonna vary.
Here's what we can do. We can ask the point and pay people and see if there's any sort of capabilities that we don't know about. Like say, what if this software can do like online passes or whatnot? And if we can integrate it into one program, great, then we don't even have to think
Right.
about that.
right.
So let's just make sure that we're not like unaware of some sort of capability that they just didn't offer us because we didn't ask about it. You know what I mean?
We were talking about, just as an FYI, when we talked to him, cause I know he's got something else to go through. When we talked to him, like, can they run concessions through point and pay? Can we, or are the fees gonna be so high when we do some of that little stuff? And what kind of fees are we talking about when somebody's doing concessions or anything like
I
that?
don't know that someone's gonna want to pay $2 fee to buy a $2 bottle of water.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah, no.
So I think that's, with this one, I don't think it's gonna charge that.
No, it's
With the
not.
pool, it doesn't do that.
It doesn't.
I think
So,
the more we learn, a lot of this question will be answered.
Correct.
yep.
All right.
And then, did you talk about the holiday
No.
increase?
Oh, I forgot about holiday. So yeah, we talked about the 3 premium holidays. So Memorial Day, 4th of July, it's on a Monday this year, and Labor Day, that the day passes would actually be $1 more. So $11 as opposed to, or $2, whatever. It just seems like a day that everyone would want to get there.
Are we limiting, I mean, I think that's fine, cause otherwise it's gonna be crowded, in my opinion, so maybe we're just
True, very true.
limiting the amount of people so our lifeguards can handle it.
The people that already have the memberships, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah, and the people that have their memberships thought ahead,
Right.
so. Okay.
Okay. All right. We didn't get to everything, but, go ahead, did you want to say
No.
something?
Are
Oh,
we-
okay.
What else are we missing?
So one thing we were gonna talk about is maybe a movie night or some type of event where we
Yeah.
open up the pool later in the evening, let people come in.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Which we could do quarterly or something, or monthly, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Like do something a week or two off of like wine and cheese or whatever
Right.
NPCA does. Because, I mean, having something twice a month is great if you're, just for
Yeah.
residents to be able to go down there. We've talked about team nights, we've talked about
Right.
these things for years and we've just never done them.
yeah.
I know NPCA is in the process of working on their list of things that they're gonna do, so maybe
Right.
we can kind of see where theirs ends up.
Yeah.
And see if there's some events that we could do, if you're doing a movie night, just $5, whether you're a member or not, you would pay for the movie night, and that is what JC, I know that is what JC does.
Yeah.
So that would be an extra outside of your membership. Membership does not include, membership does not include any events outside of the 10 to 8 PM. Or, I don't even know if you could say it, however we would word it, but
Yeah.
membership excludes special events.
My only question is how much do we have to like buy the rights to a movie or something, and how much would that
Correct.
cost? Should we like
Probably,
look into what
Depends
the
on the
price
movie,
is?
Yeah.
some can be anywhere from $50, some can be 200, and I don't know if there's others that are more, and I only knew that from Point View did it a couple times.
I don't
So
think-
yes,
I think that's a great idea.
Do we have to vote, would we have to vote on that as a council,
To what?
on the movie night, the event night?
I don't see why.
Okay. Okay,
I
we'll
think,
figure it out, because I think we'd still have time on that one.
I mean,
I
if
think
wanna
we should just come
explore
up
it.
with recommendations from the
If
committee.
if the pool needs appropriations for those expenditures, maybe, but,
Okay.
I mean, I sure as heck as a council would want to be voting on the choice of the movie.
Right. Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
A French
that's one of those
film.
you put on a Facebook post or something and go, here's your A and B.
yeah.
We're gonna make you read, it's gonna be all in French.
Okay, well, we've, come up on time, so,
Okay,
um,
you wanna call it
yeah,
adjourned?
but we good to adjourn?
Yeah, I second
Okay.
it.
All right,